The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
All right, it's fight weekend here in Jacksonville, Florida. What's going on, Island Girl Cigar Bar, Ponte Vedra Beach, since there's like 3 of these fucking places around this city. Tonight we're all in town for First Responder Weekend with the Valor bare knuckle fights. We got Ken Shamrock in the house. Kenny from the block, Ken Shamrock. You know him, the big UFC legend. Come on up here, sir. Come on up here. Listen, I'm the one that's afraid. We got a lot of first responders in the house tonight, a lot of firefighters, right? Is there any firefighters in here? No, just mostly cops. A lot of cops in here. We are the Fair to Stop podcast channel, the #1 channel where first responders go to be informed and entertained in a time where mainstream media holds us back and you guys don't really get to speak your language. We do it for you with 5 shows a week, 6 different hosts, all first responder related, but not something that you don't want to hear in your cop car. We've got comedy on Monday nights with Society and Culture so that you don't sound like an asshole to your civilian friends. I know you're like, who gives a shit what the Kardashians are doing? But you know what? Those guys at the barbecue, they want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about your dead babies and domestic violence all the time. So we keep you well-rounded on Monday nights. Tuesdays we have true crime. That's for your wives who you leave at home all by themselves worrying about you. And they're listening to Murder and Mayhem. That's what all the girls do these days. And so we give a little true crime to the ladies on True Crime Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, we have political news. I know you guys don't like to get political, but again, you got to have something to talk about at the barbecue. So we'll give you a little political news. And then on Fridays, we do our case breakdown. We have conservative Ant in the house. He also does a show called Night Shift Top Secret Information, where he dives into conspiracy theories, top secret information, aliens, paranoia, paranormal stuff, all the things. What is that? And paranoia. Yes. Yep. Follow those guys. And then on the network, we have other first responder related shows like Getting a Grip on Things podcast. We also have Anti-Hero podcast with Street Cop Tyler over here, and then a Delta Force Green Beret operator who owns First Responder Coffee Company and Cigar Company in their back. Give them a shout out. So that's who we are. But this weekend, it's all about you and bare knuckle fights. Dude, you gotta be a certain kind of messed up to invent a bare knuckle fight. Doesn't it seem a little sadistic? A little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I love fighting, eating, and sleeping.
I would hate to see what your movie repertoire looks like. What are the DVDs in your rack look like at the house?
Yeah, there's a section for fighting, and then there's another section for fighting, and then there's another section for fighting.
What made you want to do bare knuckle fights, Valor bare knuckle fights? What brought that up?
Well, first of all, I'm a fighter. Been fighting my whole life.
Surprise.
But no, really, it did come from the desire of fighting and then having to leave the octagon. I didn't want to. I loved the fighting part of it. So in order for me to stay involved in it, I had to go into a different direction. Instead of being in the ring fighting, I had to be the outside and actually putting a show together so others can kind of feel the same thing I felt when they were fighting. So that's really how it came about, was just a desire to stay involved after I got done fighting.
And how psyched are you about tomorrow night's fight?
Yeah,
are you nervous? Are you do you feel nervous at this point?
I don't, because I think that we have a great team, a Valor team that's done everything at the highest level, and we've done pretty much all of the groundwork. I feel good about where we're at. I'm excited. I feel the buzz in this town. I've been here for a couple days now, and I'm kind of feeling that buzz that the word is out there. So, listen, we've done everything we got to do. We're going to have fights, and people are there. They're there.
Well, I know tonight Tyler and I saw some major shit talking going up on the stage. I think Tyler was trying to get in on it as well.
No way, bro.
Who are you taking for tomorrow?
That was the most emasculating day of my life, was that weigh-in, dude. Those are some savages, man.
Those guys were
Those
angry.
are what we call taser candidates, because as soon as they rip their shirt off and flex at me, I'm like, I'm not going hands-on with that dude, man. No way.
Yeah.
That one guy, there was one guy there. He kind of looked like a like a young version of Vanilla Ice. You know, like a UFC Vanilla Ice. You know the guy I'm talking about with the blonde hair?
Yeah, but much meaner.
Much meaner. Yeah, listen, when that guy was like screaming and flexing, we were both just kind of like, yeah, that's the guy that you're like, no, like,
He's safe.
listen, he's gonna turn himself in the morning. We're just gonna let that guy go.
I'm gonna call the ambulance for that guy.
That's when you let him go?
Elijah, can you turn up the speakers? Somebody in the back wants a little turn up on the speakers over there. We appreciate you guys. Look, we got some NYPD guys up in the house. Where's my NYPD guy? Where's he at? Oh, fucking like a true New Yorker, not even listening. He's over there shopping. Come on, like.
Yo, keep shopping.
Walk away
Keep shopping.
from Balenciaga over there and hey, come grab a mic over here. This guy was in 9/11. That's what the rumor. He looks like a guy that was in 9/11. That sounds like an insult, but it really wasn't. Hook this guy up with a microphone. Doesn't he look like a New York cop, though? Doesn't he have that like New York cop bravado?
He looks like one of those guys that are in the Valor bare knuckles. Look at him, man. He's got the look.
Look, I told him. I said,
hey, we got an opening.
Yeah, you just need some neck tattoos, bro.
Nah, Yankees kid.
Yankees kid. Say that in the mic. Say it in the mic.
Yankees kid.
Why do you guys talk like that?
Like what?
Like that.
Like what?
Like that.
Dude, careful, man. He might just come over the table.
For sure. That's why I'm talking shit. I'm sitting next to you so I can talk shit. Listen, I wouldn't be doing this job if I was fucking good at doing anything else. All I do is talk shit. And so you were on 9/11, huh?
Yeah, I was down there. I was
Jesus.
about 4.
Talk it right into the mic.
Sorry about that. I was
you're
about
good.
4 months out of the academy when it actually
No
happened.
shit.
So I was about 24-year-old kid, and that was my baptism by fire.
So your baptism was
September
4
11th,
months in.
on the street.
What were you thinking?
I really wasn't thinking. Didn't have time to think. But
Dude, I would hate to be your fucking rookie.
why?
Well, because I would be like, oh man, this is crazy. I gotta go to this Mexico. You're like, bitch, I was in 9/11.
No. I'm no hero. The real heroes were the guys that we lost down there, both from the police. And the
So are you
fire.
still in law enforcement?
Yes.
Holy shit! How old are you?
Don't say it.
How old do I look?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
don't
lot. Don't
do it.
That's a lot of night shift. So you could be like, you could be 55 or you could be 28. I don't know.
I ain't 55. I ain't 28 either.
Oh, dude, listen, you're still going strong, and you were at 9/11, man. Our house. Somebody buy this guy a fucking beer, right? 9/11? Are you serious?
Right.
Buy him a beer, man. Hey, thank you for your service,
No,
and thank you
thank
for all
you
you
guys.
do, man. And
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping
thank
us
you
safe.
for the
We
shout-out.
appreciate
Hey,
you
also
guys.
too, we still have an opening.
Are you gonna go to the fight?
Unfortunately, I'm working, but
What?
I
Work
do
a
support
fight?
the champ- Yeah.
Work the fight.
I wish it was that easy. It's just not that easy, my friend.
Oh, hey, we appreciate you keeping us safe while we enjoy the fight tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
brother.
Champ.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. So, a lot of breaking news going on in UFC. Yeah, give him a round of applause. 9/11, are you fucking serious? It's not every day that you get to, like, well, one, it's not every day that you get to meet Ken Shamrock, but it's also not every day you get to meet somebody that was a first responder at 9/11.
Hey,
so,
man.
two really big deals in here tonight, and that's what makes all this so special, and bringing people together for the Valor bare knuckle fight stuff. It's a magic moment. What made you choose first responders to really push for on this fight?
Well, it's I don't want to get too much into it, but like when I was a kid, I went through group homes, gotten stabbed, and ended up getting locked up at a young age, 10 years old. This time I was 10 until I was 18. I was in group homes in and out. So what really helped me was, the same kind of thing that you see with the PAL program, where they go out and try to help kids find their direction and being able to vent their anger into sports or something positive. It's kind of what happened with me, whereas I had somebody help me find the direction into something positive, which happened to be football and wrestling. I was able to vent that anger, and I became important or relevant. Before that, I was just a punk kid on the street. So I feel like it's an opportunity for turn around and give back and align myself with people that have that kind of passion to be able to help kids and also just help people. So I think with everything going on in the society today, I think it's good that we support our first responders and our FOP, and especially in things like with what we're doing, fighting and all that, because it's important that people know that we're behind them, period.
Yeah, it's great because, as former first responders, there's not a lot. There's not a
Yes.
lot of people. There's people that put it on the billboard. There's people that'll you know what I mean? But there's nobody that's really living it. And I feel like working with you guys, talking to you guys, like you guys really mean it. It really does mean a lot. Hosting your weigh-in at the FOP,
Right.
that's special to these guys. It's like super motivating. That's why you got a lot of St. Johns County cops back over here, and we really appreciate it. Listen, breaking news in the UFC world, and we don't have to get into too much, but I mean, it's big news. Everybody's talking about it, and that's what we do on Failure to Stop, is inform and entertain all the first responders, because they're not watching mainstream media. But there's a lot of chatter on the X's, formerly known as Twitter, and I hate saying it, about the Bud Light debacle, the $100 million deal for the UFC. I mean, I know you probably don't want to get into it too much, but I mean, we gotta ask. What is your opinion on that? Is it good for the UFC? Is it bad for the UFC?
It's difficult because I think it's always that argument with fighters and promoters, whether or not there's enough money being paid to the fighters. And you know, as we're seeing, most UFC fighters are making all of their money by doing these mixtures of celebrity boxing matches, and they're making more money in their whole career in one fight than they did their whole time in the UFC. So there's definitely some unbalance there, and by having deals like this that happen, that absolutely none of that money is going into any of the UFC pockets, the fighters. I think that there's got to be something there that's going to balance that. So, and again, it's always going to be a battle between a promoter and a fighter on whether or not they're getting their share.
Yeah, and you've always been a great promoter and a fighter. Obviously, you had to be a great promoter to make it to not only the UFC, but then into WCW. So you know a lot about promotions and things, and that's why you come over here. I think as a consumer of the sport, I think a lot of people are going to feel let down over that deal. I feel like there was a sellout that happened. Whether it's true or not, I know Anheuser-Busch owns lots of other companies that I enjoy those beverages and those beers. I thought maybe, and I think I speak for a lot of people, is that maybe they could have pushed Anheuser-Busch and not so much Bud Light, because it seems like more of now it's a statement. It's like they're putting a line in the sand, and we've got too many lines in the sand as it is. We just want to go and watch fights.
Yeah, but you know what? There's also this thing where it feels like that it's when a company gets so big that you just can't stop it. And so a lot of these guys just have that hard, line in the sand of just like Nagano, he's fighting, he's going outside of the UFC to make money because he can't make the money he needs to there. So there's just decisions that they have to make to be able to go out and make that money. And unfortunately, UFC's too big to change their model.
And I think it's great that you guys are going back to kind of the roots of making it about fighting. Right. And that's what's great about Valor Bare Knuckle Fights, is that you guys are, and correct me if I'm wrong, listen, I'm a layman here, but like no gloves, no clinching, no ropes. And this is going to be a bloodbath tomorrow night.
Well, and that's a great thing. I said visually, it's when you watch it, it seems like it's much worse than it is, because you're watching something that's happening instantly. There are cuts, lacerations, broken hands, broken noses, and there's a lot of blood. But long term, when it comes to that brain damage, and this is what I try to stress and educate, and that's what we're doing, is educating the fan base as we go, that it's actually less dangerous for brain damage when you're not using gloves. Using gloves causes much more brain damage because guys can fight through that and take 100 punches, and that means that brain is bouncing off inside of your head 100 times as opposed to getting knocked down after 20 punches.
Right.
So imagine your brain being bruised 100 times instead of 20 times.
Makes a lot of sense. I think that was the kind of the big argument with rugby. And when you don't have pads, you can't hit as hard as you want to because it's going to hurt you equally. So there is a balance, and that's a great way of thinking about it. And it's not something that I'm glad I was educated on it. And
well, break this down. Think about this. When boxing first came in, and also the UFC came in, and they went to put gloves on somebody, why did they put gloves on them? Was it to protect the head, or was it to protect the hand? That gives you your answer right there. Right. It wasn't the head they cared about.
I really enjoy that we're getting back to the fighting of the spirit of it all, and so maybe this is good for you guys, because I think there's a lot of UFC consumers that are going to be looking for something else going forward. They're going to want something that's more grassroots, because let's face it, UFC fans were all about the grassrootsness. Yep. Of UFC. That's where you came into play. I mean, as a child watching you fight, like it was so new to everybody that we were just enamored by the whole thing. And I think UFC is almost losing that feel now and that's going to kind of carry over into Valor bare knuckle fighting.
It is, and some of the things that we've done in Valor is that we pay attention to social media platforms and things that are capturing people's attention, right? So most of the things that people are sticking to and watching are from 6 seconds to 10 seconds. So they're not really paying attention to anything that drags on. So when you look at UFC and you look at boxing, those things haven't changed at all. They've stayed the same. They've not modified any of their rules. When you look at football, they've basically taken out hitting the quarterback. They've taken out hitting receivers, defenseless receivers, so as they're allowed to score more touchdowns because it's causing action and it's making the fans engage more. Same when you watch baseball, they put a pitch clock in because it's too long in between pitches.
It's
so
the best move in sports of all time.
It's engaging the fan base, and so that's what we're doing in fighting. And when we're engaging these rules with no clinching and no cages and no ropes, it's forcing action to happen now.
Right. Yeah, I'm really, really excited, guys. It's not too late to get tickets tomorrow night for the Valor bare knuckle fight. We've got to keep you right here because we got a couple of guys that have some questions for you. Conservative Anthony, come on up, Conservative Anthony. Go ahead and take this mic down here. For you guys don't know, this is Conservative Ant. He is a social media influencer with over 1 million followers across the board on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the things. But when we're talking about fighting, Conservative Anthony is fighting his own battles. Matter of fact, may or may not be a book coming soon. But Conservative Ant is essentially had to come out twice. Is that my microphone that's doing that?
I don't know, but
well, he says he came out once as being gay in the 90s and then had to come out again for being a conservative.
2000s.
And so, what's that?
2000s, 90s.
2000s. Yeah. So, I mean, you've had a battle on your hands, not only being an openly gay man, but also being openly conservative.
Yeah, it's a whole different world right now. It's almost like it's okay to come out as gay or trans or different, but not for your political views. So I went against the grain. I still do. And I add a little bit of, funny to it.
And that's what's great. I think it's what the world needs. And listen, and I would say all your content's not necessarily conservative content. It's very funny. All the conservatives love it. But it's very funny.
I do attack Joe Biden a lot.
Yeah, you do. To be fair.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah.
Pretty easy.
It's easy targets these days.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a UFC fight or a bare knuckle fight?
This will be my very first UFC weigh-in fight, bare knuckle fight. Like, I haven't done any of this before. I'm super excited because it's, a lot of my platform not only is, political and comedic, but I do a lot to support the veterans as a civilian. I do a lot for I have major respect for first responders, and I bring that awareness to civilians because a lot of times, not only our veterans, but our first responders have nobody to talk to when they're dealing with all this stuff out there in the world. And I want to make sure that they know that people do appreciate them because all they hear is that the media tells everybody that civilians hate the cops,
and
right?
that's not true.
And it's 100% not true. So, yeah, it means a lot to, I'm a badge bunny, as you know. You know what a badge bunny is, sir?
I don't.
A badge bunny is somebody who loves police officers just because they're cops. Yeah, they're like into it.
A little bit more than the average person, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, buddy.
Do you have to be so gay all the time?
I had to get a little, a little sass, a little spice.
Like I said, man, whatever.
But now
floats
you know
your
what
boat.
badge bunny means. So.
Hey,
at least you won't walk around going, "I'm a badge bunny."
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Kid's like, oh, I support cops too. I'm a badge bunny. We're like, no.
He's looking at me, winking at me, going, yeah, don't fall for it.
Why did you pull me over, officer? I do have a question for you because the one thing that I noticed from being in that room, there's obviously a lot of testosterone, right? There's like a lot. Let's go, baby, let's go. Like there's a lot of that. I enjoyed the weigh-in very much for different reasons.
Too much.
And but
you're welcome.
Thank you. I got a free show too. Everybody have a good time. No, but when you see the two guys come face to face, I don't know this because I haven't been in that industry or in situation. Is it really them aggressively towards each other? Do they have a mutual respect for each other? How does that look after the fight?
Yeah, especially when they're standing across from one another and you have them face off, it's literally a competition. I mean, they both believe that they're going to beat the other guy. I mean, seriously. So when they're standing there, they're dogging the other guy, basically telling him you're going down. So both of them feel confident. After the fight, just like with anything, when that fight's over and the one guy has won, there's usually a mutual respect because what else can you do if you get beat? You got to respect the other guy. Now, there are some times where it's a close fight and one guy probably believes he won, but he didn't get the decision. You might have a confrontation then, but usually most of the time when someone wins clearly, the other guy shows respect.
So what are you saying to them when you tap them? Because I noticed that there's their confrontation, there's the picture, and then there's something that you say to them. What do you say to them?
Yeah, because like we do the face off and they're talking to one another. One guy's saying, in this particular thing, one guy said, I'm going to kick the shit out of you, man. You ain't going to know where you're at the next morning. And the other guy says, you talk a whole life, buddy. So I let them go at it a little bit, and then I tap them and say, turn around and face the cameras. So and that's when they turn and they pose and do whatever they're going to do, and then I tap them one more time and they go.
Cool.
I think the funniest moment of the shit talking tonight was the one guy that said you're gonna get your ass beat by an old man tomorrow.
Yes.
That was his name was Chad.
I was immediately a fan.
He said,
Chad, right?
better not get knocked out by an old man.
He said, dude, I was instantly a fan. I was like, and he got the most applause. Like the other guy was John, he had like a good fan, but the one guy was like, you better not get knocked out.
That was Wolves saying he's gonna kick the shit out of him. I'm gonna knock you out faster than anybody. And the other guy goes, you better hope you don't get knocked out by this old man.
And you know what? No, and I don't know if like a lot of people noticed. Anthony probably noticed. But he's the only one that stood up there in his underwear the whole time. The dude never put on fucking pants.
Yeah,
the old guy never put on pants.
I definitely noticed that.
I think he was a little nervous.
He had the like seafoam green boxers. And my thing is if I know I'm getting in my underwear to flex in front of you, like I'm gonna pay attention to what my underwear look like. He wore
you'll have to put
green
socks
boxers.
in your underwear, but that's neither here nor there.
What, you're not supposed to do that?
They're like 255.1. You're like, hold on. Pull the socks out.
Yeah, you got to make weight, buddy. Pull it out.
Now, funny story is one time I was searching a guy, and I said, do you have anything in your waistband? And he said, no. And I started patting him down, and I felt something, and I yoked him into the car, and I said, put your hands up. Put your fucking hands up. And he's like, yo, what's going on? I was like, what is this? Stay there. And I was like, send me some help. And he was like, yo, that's my dick. And I was like, that is not your dick. He was like, that's... And then he bounced it. He bounced it, and I was like, that's your dick.
We just found you a good time tonight.
That situation would have gone so different if I was a cop.
It's like handcuffs would have came in handy.
So different. Man, I love police officers. So cool.
He's going to go sign up for the academy like right now.
He backs the blue.
I sure do back the blue. Anytime a police officer comes to my car window, and there was this guy, and he had a red beard, and he was very handsome, and he walked up to me. I was speeding, definitely speeding. And, I'm never nervous because I don't have anything to worry about. So he comes up to the car, and I already have the window rolled down, and I'm going like this. I said, I like your beard. He's like, I'll be right back. He went to a squad car.
I bought him a sticker when we started podcasting together. I sent him a sticker, and it said, only gay cops pull me over.
I might put that on my truck, actually.
Well, Anthony, we love you, man. We're so excited that you get to join us for the fight.
That might get you some free tickets.
Listen, that's another show. All right, have a good day.
All right, we got a couple more guests real quick for Kid Shamrock. We've got Getting a Grip on Things podcast. Come on up here, James. By the way, they got some free merch up here. All you got to do is scan the code there and follow them on one of those platforms, and you can have one of anything on their table. There's hats, shirts, stickers, posters. There's all sorts of things. But James here, they have a podcast. He podcasts with Mike the Cop.
Yep.
Who's probably the most famous police officer in existence. Retired now from social media, but he was the OG the first ever viral cop back in the Vine days. And his son and James now have a podcast, getting a grip on things. And James said, I've got one question that I have to ask. That they did an entire episode that I got to be on. It was awesome. But he has a question for you, and it was in regards to what they talk about on their show, getting a grip on things.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother?
How you doing, Ken?
Good.
So yeah, we've spent the past 2 months making content about men and masculinity. So one of the things that that we focus on, Elijah and I, which is Mike the Cop's son, is that everybody's talking. There's a big thing with Matt Walsh, like, what is a woman, right? Did you see that? Have you looked into that?
No.
So basically the question is, what is a woman? A woman, and our culture's having a hard time answering that. So Elijah and I, with all of the young people, and I would say anywhere from 18 to 30, there's a lot of men out there that are struggling with what a man is, what masculinity is. So our content's been hilarious. Like there's a teacher in Canada that's got triple D breasts prosthetics. That's a man, and the kids aren't allowed to look at it. And if they look at it, they get suspended from school. So
I'll tell you right now, even if it's a dude with triple D's, I'm looking. I'm fucking looking, dude. There's no set of tits I'm not looking at.
You ever gonna see that again?
No, but seriously, Google. It's Kayla Lemieux. Google that right now, and it's just like it's hysterical. And I think she's a actual like shop teacher where she's working around saws, and they're hanging at their knees. So this is like a real thing,
Yeah,
right?
but first of all, is it she or he?
It's a man that's wearing prosthetic breasts. Okay, so it sounds hysterical, right? But that's just it. Like we even had Mike the Cop come on that show, and we were talking about it. And Mike makes a great point. He's like, look, how far in the culture that we're in right now, how far is too far? And at this point, there's no edge. Like you can't go too far anymore because we've lost that standard. So
common sense.
The question that we want to ask you, because when people look at you, young men look at you, they see a masculine man, like fighting and stuff. But I want to know, what is the most masculine thing a man can do in your opinion? It's a tough one.
No, it's easy for me.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, like, first of all, especially as being a man, someone disrespects my wife or a woman, I'm stepping up and knocking the shit out of them.
That's right. That's right. No, that's dude. Seriously,
that might be the coolest thing I've fucking heard all night.
That high five from over here. That honest to God, and that's not happening, man. Yeah. We're not protecting our women, and they need to be covered. They need to be protected. And so there was a profound thing that I heard. It kind of blew my mind. A guy said, the most masculine thing a man can do is to get married, have kids, and raise his family. And it hit me hard because I got 2 daughters, right? And it's one of the hardest things to do. And our culture hates that right now.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah.
That's it, because dividing it means that they're separating the United States of America. They want this country to fall apart. You don't have marriages and couples, and you're splitting apart with no father, the family falls apart.
Everything. The whole thing. That was a great answer, by the way, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, brother. That's awesome. So yeah, basically, like, that's about the only thing that we've been driving for the past few months. I don't really have like a whole lot of questions.
No, yeah, we got one question for you guys, but we're gonna ask Anthony.
Yeah, do that.
Because Anthony is one of the characters on their show, and he's absolutely golden. We'll get up here and you will understand what I mean. But really quick, I want to swap you out. We got Chandler over here from Ink by Chandler. And this is a big-time tattoo artist in town for the Valor bare knuckle fights. I'm trying to butter up because I want to do a podcast while getting tattooed at some point, but I'm a little girl when it comes to that stuff, so that's why I haven't got one. How did you get into all this Valor bare knuckle? How did you get from Kentucky to here this weekend? Hey, don't tell me a fucking airplane.
Like I forgot.
A very short flight. We made a partnership with Maddie, and we came into Valor with our tattoo shop, and everything from there literally just kind of started falling in the cracks, and everything just started coming together, and we started meeting a lot of people and branching out. Now we're expanding our tattoo shop to multiple states all around the U.S.
That's rad. What's the craziest tattoo you've had to give?
Oh, shit. I would definitely say it was pretty early on in like my tattooing career. I was probably in a shop for like 3 months, I had a guy come up to me and ask me to do big, bold, black lettering, honky all the way across his neck for his first tattoo. Told him I'd do it.
No way.
Everything was great. His wife wanted a tattoo also. Went ahead, did his wife's, and
You did his wife?
his wife's tattoo.
The guy comes in for a sweet tattoo and you do his wife?
That's cop work.
What a guy.
Definitely did his wife's tattoo.
And you got paid.
Listen, I want to get FTS tattooed on my penis, but when it's hard, it says "Failure to Stop Podcast Network." But like all the way, I'm just kidding. That would never fit. That would never fit. Listen, has he tattooed you?
No.
Ken is
Do you
blank.
have any tattoos?
I have
Ken is
no
blank.
tattoos, no piercings, nothing, man.
Nice, dude. I wish I
That's
could.
because if somebody's going to put paint on me, I'm putting it on them.
Second most badass.
Yeah, I'm
thing
not
ever.
tattooing Kid.
Fucking night tonight.
I'm not tattooing Kid.
It's like he just nails you. Look at the size of this guy's fucking fist too. Like I'm telling you, I don't want any of that sauce. If I was a cop and I came to your house, I'd be like, dude, no, fucking whatever. You can go free. Hey man, we appreciate you guys. We're excited. When does the shop open up in St. Pete?
St. Pete should be open in about 2 weeks.
All right,
2 weeks.
St. Pete. If you're in St. Pete and you want to get tatted up, go head it up. We got Brent, Delta Force Green Beret operator, just got back in town, owner of First Responder Cigar Company. Come on up, Mr. Brent. Oh, while Brent's on here, you said you had a question.
He's got a feminine walk.
That's not what it makes to be a man.
Just say that over the mic, will you?
You must have been watching someone else walk up there.
He's like all manned up now. There's masculinity.
Brent, what's going on, man? You've got a podcast now, Anti-Hero, causing some waves. Obviously, you came out of the gate swinging. I don't think you meant to, but you did, and it was awesome. And people can Google it. He had a feud with some other operators, and it was actually I actually learned probably more from that argument than I've learned from other podcasts, and I totally understood it. Was that your intent the whole time, or did it just kind of happen that way?
So he's referring to our podcast with or about Rob O'Neill, who claims to have been the only guy in the room to shoot bin Laden, when that's just not the truth and how it happened. So we exposed him and we walked through it, basically line by line.
I thought it was great because you had like you had lie detector folks on, detectives on, you had other team guys on that really broke it down, and at the end of the day, I mean, not to take away from Rob O'Neill that he was there and he did a great thing, but the truth of the matter was that he was not the one who killed bin Laden.
Right, and I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The guy had a 20-year career, Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6. He was on the raid. He was in the room with 4 other Navy SEALs when they killed him. But at the end of the day, you can't lie and say I was the only one there, make millions of dollars off of it, and not have someone eventually say, wait a minute, that's not how
And
it
I thought it
happened.
was great that it was you because you're a Delta Force operator, Tier 1 operator, and you didn't do it for clout. You didn't even mean to do it. You were simply on a podcast that they were talking about Rob O'Neill, and you were like, yo, wait a minute, hold up.
My bad.
And he was like, hold on. You know that guy didn't kill fucking bin Laden, right? And everybody was like, hold up.
Yeah.
And it caused the whole thing. Rob O'Neill got involved, but then he wouldn't come on the show. And I was trying to work every angle I had because I was in contact with their network. And being that you guys had just kind of signed on with our network, I really wanted to make that happen because I wanted to look like a rock
We could
star.
still make it happen.
Couldn't do it. You wouldn't come on. You wouldn't come on.
Yeah,
And you got a DUI that weekend.
He wanted to say he shot him, right?
I did.
That was me.
That was me.
That was me.
That
All
was
me.
Yeah. If it gets me $1 million, I'll say whatever. Bud Light, $100 million. Come on,
Yeah, that was
sponsor the
me.
show.
That was me.
I'll put their fucking logo everywhere. I'll sell out for fucking $20. Buy me a beer. I'll sell out right now. Buy me a Bud Light. I'll fucking drink it.
I got no shame.
I have zero shame in this game. How did you start First Responder Cigar Company? What made you come up with the name First Responder Cigar Company?
After a 20-year career, half of that as a Green Beret, half in the Delta Force. I got out and I started training cops and SWAT teams all over the country. And I didn't expect SWAT teams to be funded like the Delta Force. I mean, it's no secret. We are well funded, and that's an understatement, and as they should be. But the resources that our first responders had, the resources that the guys who are protecting our communities the most were lacking, and I felt like I had to do something to correct that. and that was my answer to it. Was First Responders Coffee Company and First Responders Cigar Company, where 20% of our sales, of any sale, 20% goes to back to first responders. Everyone told me that is way too much. You cannot survive as a business giving away that much. And we turn 1 year old in November, and we're not closing anytime soon, and doing what we said we'd do.
I love it. I like smoking on the cigars. I like that you guys are podcasting together, having a Delta Force operator and a street cop coming together to break down current events. It's a really great perspective on things like Uvalde, right? Like all of these things that have like
Yo,
a very
you got a lot of hate
breakdown.
on that one.
I did, yeah, but I didn't have a Delta Force operator.
I don't think he cares, though.
Yeah, but I don't give a fuck.
Man.
Listen, I always black the blue. Nobody knows what it's like to stack on those doors. I'm not. My only take on that was I'm not going to call them cowards until I see the full report. It's all I said. A lot of people were angry, called me, just said that I worship the blue or whatever. No, I do it with every case. I mean, we got a mass shooter out right now in Maine, but they haven't proven him guilty yet. So I mean, I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I've always had that take, and that's what I've always done on my show. Is I'm not going to pass judgment or Monday morning quarterback until I get the totality of the experience, and then I'll weigh in on it. That's all I ever said about Uvalde. And I'll still say that to this day because I've talked to many operators. I've been in situations, and it can't be put into words into the mainstream media. It would be like you trying to explain to me what it's like to be at a weigh-in and talking shit face to face.
Well, media doesn't lie either.
That's why I call it media, right? Well, Brent, we thank you so much, man. Thank you for all you do for our community. One last person to come up. He's somebody very special to me. Actually, we got two. We'll finish it off with an Ask Anthony. One more guy is very special to me. Deadleg Media, Josh from Deadleg Media, retired officer. Is he here? Where'd he go?
He's sitting there looking at you.
Oh, there he is. The lights blinding me. Deadleg Media is a retired cop. Obviously, he's called Deadleg because he has a dead leg. That's why he's no longer a police officer. But Deadleg came over to the Failure to Stop network and channel as a fact checker. He then got promoted to producer, and now he hosts our political news and writes all the scripts for our political news on Wednesday. So whenever I get into the thickest shit on Wednesdays, it's all because of the stuff that... And listen, the guy's smarter than anybody I've ever met.
Is he always telling you don't say that?
Oh, yeah. Everybody says that. Everybody says that. Tansy, you got to be careful. Like, I emceed a skate contest this week, and I swear to God, like, my wife the whole time was like...
You know it's coming.
I did the whole 8 hours. I didn't mess up. I didn't say one cuss word. Josh, I want to give it open because you never get to have the mic because you're always behind the scenes. One to bring you up. Give Mr. Ken Shamrock here a question.
So I guess the biggest question I would have is coming from grappling and that kind of background, how different of an approach going into bare knuckle is it versus something like UFC or even boxing?
Yeah, it's a big difference because, especially from what I came from with the grappling and the striking and no holds barred, basically. So basically coming back from the ground technique and taking that completely out, it's basically me just separating, because I trained in Muay Thai, obviously knees and elbows and all that, but it's basically just going back to the roots of what people wanted, as opposed to, looking at the whole thing with the MMA market or the no holds barred when I did it. So when I went back to do this, separated what I thought the fans did not want to see. And I remember they kept saying, stand them up, stand them up. So what I'm trying to do is go back to the beginning and give it more of that pure fighting, I guess, and back to the very beginning of what fighting used to be, which is two guys standing out there, bare knuckle, fighting one another. So to me, I thought that was the most purest God-given talent, is two guys standing there trying to knock the other guy out. So that's kind of how we got to the Valor. And then separating, it's real easy because you have to train in both separately. So whenever I was trained in grappling, it was completely separate from striking. And when I was training in striking, I was completely separate from that. So it was pretty simple to separate the two and then just hold that one event. And it was already going on, too. There, you're seeing thousands of views on social media where guys are fighting each other in backyards and in parks. So it was already out there. It was just us putting it together and organizing it and packaging it up to get it out to the people.
So for someone or like a proposal or like a fighter, someone that's wanting to try to get into this, is there a particular type of background you want to look for? Or if they came from just strictly grappling, is it very hard to transition to bare knuckle?
Up to this point, it hasn't. I think the hardest thing has been for boxers to transition into bare knuckle. MMA guys seem, at this particular time, may change, but they seem to adapt a lot more because they fought with smaller gloves, so they're used to the size of gloves of blocking and parrying or pick-a-boo. When it's bare knuckle, there's none of that. You can't block any punches. You got to use your footwork to move. So up to this point, I think it's been kind of more balanced, where we have boxers in there and they haven't done well against MMA guys that had decent hands but not world class. It's just different. But you also had boxers done well in our event, the one we had first, where a boxer actually beat one of the MMA guys, but it was a good fight. So I think because of the nature of the fight and the rules the way they are, I don't think any individual has an advantage other than somebody that's just a tough guy, comes in and wants to fight. But again, like I said, those gloves and the size of those gloves, not having them on your hands is a huge difference.
Is that it?
Yeah. Well, I guess we could ask the next one. Not to get too far ahead of Jacksonville, where is the next one going to be?
Yeah, we've got, I think, 5 of them planned out. I know we're coming back here in March. I don't want to give the date because we want to make sure we have it, solidified. But we're also going to be in California next, then back here in March. So we've got a few of them lined out. So.
Well, we're excited, and I'm sure we'll be right back here or somewhere close by in March. We absolutely love the Island Girl Cigar Bar. That brings us to our final segment of the night tonight, brought to you by Getting a Grip on Things. Again, we are the Failure to Stop podcast channel. You can go to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you download podcasts, and look us up, Failure to Stop. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Leave all these guys, Anti-Hero Podcast, leave them a 5-star rating and review. Getting a Grip on Things, 5-star rating and review. But Getting a Grip on Things, we've got Anthony over here. It's Ask Anthony. It's a segment that they end on their show, and you can ask this man anything you fucking want. Anything you want. But you gotta talk into the mic. Talk into the mic.
How you guys doing? Is that better?
And it's his birthday.
It's
his birthday today.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to ask him anything when I don't know who he is? Tell me about his background.
That's
Who
it.
is he?
You're looking at it. His whole life is right there. Like, this is the biggest moment of his life. You're looking at all of it. No, he's a character. I don't know how he got picked up on Getting a Grip on Things, but they ask him things, and he has the most ridiculous answers, but he has an answer for everything, and it's just natural. And it's hilarious.
I was walking by, and they had an empty seat, and they were just like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it was like. And I literally watch their show just because I want to see what this asshole says every night. I don't know anything about him either, Ken. I have no idea what the fuck. I have no idea.
Forever, you still don't know?
Fuck. I've known him for like, what, 4 months, 5 months? Maybe. I don't know shit about him, though. I don't even know his name. No, I'm just teasing, Anthony. But no, seriously, ask him anything. If you got a question, ask. You want me to practice? You want me to show you?
Yeah.
You want me to show you how it's done?
Yeah.
Pegging.
Pegging.
Question mark.
Question mark pegging. Is
Into
that
the mic,
something
though.
you enjoy, or something that you like to? You seem passionate about pegging. I don't know too much about it myself.
No? Not your
No,
stitch?
That's not my stitch.
You ever tried it?
No.
Not once?
No, can't do that.
Really?
No. That's
You have a
against the
girlfriend?
good Lord.
Huh?
That's against the good
Wait.
Lord.
That's against the good Lord?
What if she was
That's
super?
against the good Lord, he says.
What if she was super hot? The girl of your
Can't
dreams.
happen. That's a no-go
Who do you
zone.
think?
No girl
Who is
ever.
the hottest girl in the world to you?
Oh, hottest girl in the world.
In the mic. Talk in the mic.
Man, that's a good question. I
Who
don't
do you
know.
think's really, really hot right now?
Really, really hot right now would be... Man, that's a good question. You put me on the spot there.
That's the first time he's not been able to answer a fucking question.
Yeah, honestly.
The first time. Who is it?
You could literally name any female right now. You look terrible.
Do you even know women? Do you know any? Do you know any women?
He slept with many women.
I've been single so hard for so long, like I don't even care.
He's been single for so hard for so long.
I don't even care. I don't. All they cause is problems and more money I don't have.
Are you
to
a
be honest.
virgin?
No.
No. All right, your turn.
Born
You get one
again.
question. What do you want to ask him?
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you?
Probably this right now. Asking about pegging.
God, oh, that's the most embarrassing. He just fucking stood me up on a high five, which is really, really
Oh
embarrassing.
shit! You want to talk to me now?
Yeah, can we go back to... Damn.
That was
I don't
like
want
an
to leave you
Eiffel Tower.
hanging there.
All right, we'll leave the last question up to Tyler from Anti-Hero. What do you got for him? Last question of the night.
So I'm a big proponent Failure to Stop and my podcast, one of our main goals is bridging the gap between the community and law enforcement. It's not the dancing stuff. It's not the fake Facebook videos.
He got his start as a dancing TikTok
No, I did
cop.
not. Do not listen
Swear
to
to God,
him. Do
like
not
he was
listen to him.
one of those cops in his
No.
thing. You know, where he's like,
There's actually a shirt up there that says defund dancing cops.
I did see that one. Yeah.
Can we see a dance?
If you answer a question
No,
about a woman.
he's probably got the one where it's like the cop that's got all of his gear laid out. Like, fucking, you cops know which one I'm talking about. And it's that hardcore music, and he's like, holstering his gun. He's putting his fucking badge on. Like, what are they fucking doing? I fucking hated this. Anybody, you're a female. When you see that, are you like, oh, yeah? No, right? It's so cringe, right? Like, what are you, fucking Rambo?
Oh my
But
Just hit me with that nightstick.
stuff like this, like I posted a picture at your weigh-in. My union rep from Orlando hit me up. He goes, dude, are you going to be there tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, he's a FOP rep. And he goes, dude, Ken's been working with us for months. And he's like, I'm going to be there. And I just think it's really cool that you're including most people, it's not that they don't want to, it's a liability to include law enforcement because it's polarizing. A lot of people just stay out of it. So I think that's really cool. And my question for you was, as far as legality in states, is it kind of proportionate or comparable to when the UFC started, where there was only limited places where you can do this? Are you allowed to do this in every state, or what's that like?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot like that. And again, fortunately for me, I was in the beginning of the UFC, and I got to watch how it all played out. And it reminds me a lot of the beginning of the UFC, where it's not sanctioned in a lot of states, but you can go to any state and actually have the event. So it's not like it's illegal. You just have to get a license to do it. So right now we're in those beginning stages of, and I think it's more about the education part of it, just like the early UFCs where people looked at it and they immediately, most people tagged it as barbaric and animalistic, and these guys are dudes that come out of prison and got no brains, and it's really very, very technical. And I think that's where Bare Knuckle is right now, is it's trying to educate the people on what bare knuckle is and the safety of bare knuckle, because most people, when they see it, they think, oh my God, somebody's going to get killed. And it's the opposite of that. Whereas with the gloves, the 4-ounce gloves or the 16 or 8-ounce gloves, it's much more dangerous long term than it is short term. So it really is right now with us educating the people on what bare knuckle is.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that until tonight. I had no idea. I was the one about 4 hours ago and going, God, this is barbaric.
I've been saying that the whole time.
That's how it starts.
My wife's asked more questions about Valor bare knuckle fight, and she's like, really, they hit each other without any gloves on? I'm like, yeah. She's like, they don't have any gloves on? And I'm like, no, man, I think that's what it means, bare knuckle. So no gloves? I'm like, I'm not going to do this.
You're going to say that again? No gloves?
I'm not going to do it all night. Listen, Ken, we appreciate you. We appreciate everything you do for the community. Thank you to all the first responders out there tonight. Listen, if you see a first responder and he ain't got a beer in his hand, buy him a beer. Buy him a shot. My rum is up there. It's Instill Distilling Company rum. It's rum that I made with my own bare hands. It's about the only thing I'm good at in this world. This guy over here, Paul from Drums and Rums podcast, is drinking my rum. Of course, the guy with a Rums podcast, drinking my rum because it's fucking really good. So thank you for that, homie. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys all. We'll see you tomorrow night at the Valor bare knuckle fight at UNF.